Greetings, former Decepticons. This is Starscream, and you're listening to Transformation Animation Podcast.
Will these infernal setbacks never end?
The revolution begins now.
Transformers, more than meets the eye. Transformers, robots in disguise. Autobots wage the battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons.
The universal greeting. Bioweed Grana Week Nibong.
My name is Optimus Prime, and this episode of Transformation Animation Podcast features Stephen C. Phillips, Mike Blanchard, and Michael Wilson.
Hello and welcome to episode 14 of Transformation Animation Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Dave, Joe, and Mike, and joining me is Steve Megatron. Hello.
Good day, sir.
And Pecan Court Michael. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Much better now. So, Steve, what have you been up to?
Besides launching XRG.
Why don't you tell people what that stands for people that don't know?
Extreme Retro Gaming.
There you go.
Yes, so it'll be like one-shot episodes of old shit. And some new stuff, depending on what I decide to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else going on with you?
No.
Okay. Michael, what have you been up to?
I got my new iPhone.
Oh, so the black guy at the UPS store didn't steal it. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Darkseid didn't take him. Inside joke.
Yeah, it's way inside.
That's what she said.
I made
It was like well behind the green door.
That's what she said.
The UPS thing. It was a story on the local news here. Some black guy that worked at UPS stole a bunch of iPhones off the UPS trucks.
One of them was yours.
One phone and tried to hide it in his shoe.
Yeah.
And
Nobody's calling me, I swear.
And then got caught during a random search.
Yeah.
So, hey-oh for UPS and their random searches.
Where did that come from? I'm not happy.
So have you already started talking dirty to Siri yet?
I did. Yeah, it was kind of funny.
Come on.
It was funny for about 30 seconds. I said, Siri, who's your daddy? And Siri says, you are. Can we get back to work now? And that satisfied me for the moment. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't want to get too dirty because that's just not in my nature.
Oh, right. Right.
Yeah. Actually, if you go to shitthatsurisays.com, there's a whole bunch of screenshots of people saying rude things to Suri and how she responds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I always forward people to that. It's like, I don't need to mess around with Suri because everyone else has already done it.
Yeah.
She's got like 5 different responses to what is the meaning of life.
Is that an app for the iPhone?
Siri is the new voice activation on the iPhone 4S.
She's a personal assistant.
Yeah, she's a personal assistant. Basically, your phone can now talk back to you.
Yeah,
wow.
So you tell. So like tonight, I said, Siri, send my wife a message, and Siri said, what would you like to tell Chrissy? And I said, if you're going to come home now, wait until the boys go to sleep. Because the boys were both like, I'm going to wait up until Mommy comes home to read me a book. And I said, Mommy's not coming home. I'll go to sleep. So she ended up coming home and reading them a book anyway. But Suri comes up and says,
Curses.
Yeah, there's an idea. Exactly. A Terra Strong voiced Suri called Sorry. So, but Suri says, here's what your message says. Would you like me to send it? And I looked at it, and it looked about right for the most part, because the voice recognition is still a little hokey. But, that, and I don't speak properly. But, yeah, I said, yes, send it. And it sent a voice message, or sent a text message using nothing but my voice.
Yeah.
So handy to have. It's a neat little tool.
I guess.
Yeah, 4S exclusive, so you have to have a 4S to use it.
Yeah.
Or us be with you.
Well, I'm hearing now that they're going to have Siri on the new iPhone, or not iPhone, the new iTVs, or the Apple TVs.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be cool? You just sit in your living room and say, Siri, bring up such and such a movie. And Siri
Well, I
will-
mean, that's no different than what we see in movies and television. I was watching, and this was a couple of years ago, I was watching an old episode of Numbers where this guy got killed by his computer, supposedly. And his house was all voice activated. So, I mean, you know, I'm not surprised that Apple and Siri and all that stuff are going to be doing that. That doesn't really surprise me because I'm like, oh, wow, it's finally here. It's actually real now.
Right. Kind of real. Siri is still in beta.
And she'll be talking dirty to you in the coming years.
Yeah.
If she's on, I know Apple is anti-porn, but holy crap, if she is on...
to watch your porn, sir?
All right, so let's
Siri, find my Japanese schoolgirl porn, please. Yeah.
Downloading.
Right up. Yeah.
All right, so we are going to get into some episodes before this goes down the shitter anymore.
Wow, wow.
So, Autobots lied to Wasp, call Wasp traitor, but not traitor, but still chase Wasp. Oh, Wasp confused.
That sounds pretty simple to me. The Autobots betrayed you, and now you hate them. Been there, done that.
Spider-Bot, understand Wasp?
Oh, you and I have quite a lot in common.
Ladybot, Wasp friend?
Something like that. Oh, like it? It's a trans-warp generator. Up until now, they've only been used for intergalactic transport, but... Oh, but I'm boring you, aren't I? And just when I was getting to the good part.
Good part? What good part?
This good part. Now, don't be alarmed, sweetie. This is power. Power to destroy your enemies. The ultimate combination of cybernetic and organic. And it can all be yours. Oh, don't let those little hiccups bother you. Science marches on.
No, thank you.
Oh, you trust your friend, don't you? Did I mention it might hurt a little?
First up today is an episode that Steve better have a lot to talk about on. Predacons Rising. The Autobots and Elite Guard pursue Wasp, each with their own agenda. However, Black Arachnia has Swoop capture Wasp in her latest attempt to get rid of her organic half. Jetfire and Jetstorm attack the Dinobots so Sentinel can get in, learning of Elita's fate, while Wasp emerges as Waspinator. Alright, so... let's see, crap. Oh, hey, look, the Tilioan Forward. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have somebody write a Beast Wars episode...
You gotta have those guys do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, let's all argue while the suspect gets away.
But it's a great argument.
Oh, it's an awesome argument.
It's a great argument.
It's gonna be in the episode somewhere, probably later on in the quotes. It's an awesome argument, but it's like, seriously, you guys are gonna, you're gonna boast your chins out at each other while the suspect gets away.
The primer prime. Did you just make that up?
No, it's a real word. Look it up.
Look at the real word. Look it up. Well, it's kind of sad because they chase Wasp for like 5 minutes straight,
Yeah.
and then at the end of that, he just gets away.
Yeah.
And this was kind of a waste.
the
Bumblebee
very
still won't
first-
apologize.
Yeah. Well, the very first episode, or the very first time I had seen this episode on TV when it was still airing, when Sentinel called for grapple, didn't realize he was calling for a grappling hook out of the two jets. I thought he was calling for the character Grapple. I was like, "Oh, cool! We're gonna have a grapple. We're gonna have a grapple appearance. Awesome!"
See, I thought that's what he was calling the combination.
Yeah.
Because he says grapple, and the first thing to do is combine.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I don't like that. And then there's a grappling hook coming out of their ass, and snagging him on the noggin.
Now, there's a scene after that. There, as they're going to, as Sentinel and the Jet Twins are going to Dinobot Island. After they arrive, Bumblebee and Optimus arrive as well. First of all, we know that they've driven underwater in this series in the past. However, the one thing I think was missing from this scene was them riding the waves on hydrofoils, like in G1.
Because you can't get enough of the hydrofoil.
Yeah, well, I think it was it Attack of the Autobots, or I don't know. It was an early season 1 G1 episode where Optimus and all the other Autobots were all on hydrofoils to get to one of the dams. I think it was Sherman Dam. No, it was in More Than Meets the Eye. That's where it was.
Yeah, the Hoover Dam.
Yeah.
They could fly in that episode too, though. So I mean, they hadn't quite nailed down the dynamics yet. Now, what I didn't understand is why Prime was saying, "Don't go to that island. You don't know what's on that island," because Prime and Sentinel and I think Ultra Magnus had already been to the island. Yeah, that's when they met Dinobot. They met Grimlock there.
Yeah. Yeah, that was weird. Transwarp generator looks like an upright stasis pod from Beast Wars.
No, it looked like a Brundle teleporter.
Oh, okay.
I felt for sure a Brundlefly was going to climb out of there.
This episode at the end, or when Sentinel finds out what happened, this is the only time in the entire series I will give him a pass. Because he didn't know what happened to Elita 1.
Oh, not only did he not know, but he just had no sympathy whatsoever.
Not really.
He just said, "You are gross. How can you live with yourself? I'm here to put you out of your misery."
Well, it's like he just found out that basically she was putting herself out there for the Decepticons, and he's like, "You, die bug."
Yeah. I wish Jazz was on Earth more. I love Jazz in this series. I just wish we had more Jazz on Earth.
We do. It's in music form.
What?
Nothing.
Not. God. And oh hey, look, it's the Maximals. I did also write down the Waspinator line, but I'm sure Steve will say that at some point. So, Steve, what do you have for Predacons Rising?
Well, I like this episode the most out of all the season 3. Point being, it's written by Larry DiTillio and Bob Forward. Granted, they can only do what they can do with the series, being that it's animated and it's not Beast Wars. But I do like the nice touches that they kind of throw in there to kind of tie it into Beast Wars somewhat, and also actually explain some things that should have been explained a long time ago in the series, such as the whole Black Arachnia origin.
Well, they did. No,
they did, but they didn't explain it to like Sentinel or something.
Right.
So it should have been actually told a while back on that.
And this is the first time, or these, this episode is the first time that we actually see her entire organic head.
Yes, and you get kind of a Beast Wars or Beast Machines multi-head or multi-eyeball vibe from it. Almost like a mix between her Transmetal and her, because she had the classic head, technically, before, with the helmet on it. And then she ends up with the other afterwards. I I like the fact that she's trying to basically figure out how to reverse engineer the whole process by screwing with Wasp as a science experiment, which is something that she would probably do.
Yeah.
I
think we're getting our Black Arachnia here messed up with our oh hell, I forgot his name now. Tarantulas.
No, well, see, now Black
She did do
Arachnia
some of this
in
kind
this
of stuff
series
in
is
season
technically
3.
tarantulas. I mean,
She did do kind of her lab experiments in season 3 more so.
yeah.
Well, on herself, yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean...
That's the same thing she's doing here. She's trying to do experiments on herself. Well, she was originally, but now she's to the point where she, experimenting on herself isn't going to work. So she has to find another way to do it.
Right. And instead ending up with a bunch of giant green vials of goo. Don't mind them. They're just
I like how...
bumps on the road to science.
What else, Steve?
I like the whole fact they got a transwarp generator in there.
Yeah.
And she thinks she's been able to get it to work correctly for a different use other than transporting. The whole transwarp thing kind of, I mean, it's another Beast Wars token there. A Wasp goes from this tiny little bot to this gigantor bot, looming over everybody after he becomes Waspinator. I unfortunately don't care for the way they portray Waspinator here. I feel bad for Wasp himself, but as far as Waspinator, I know that they didn't have McNeil, and I know they don't have the same kind of animation or anything. I like the form. I probably would have bought the toy if I'd seen one like this, but I just didn't care for the persona for what little there was.
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that they did have Waspinator in it, along with Black Arachnia, to tie something else into Beast Wars. You sounded like you were going to say something.
Not me.
That might have been me. Actually, I was reaching back into my...
I was going to say, Michael's probably looking to see if his Waspinator toy is show accurate.
I did. You said, oh, I'd get a Waspinator, and I was like, I've got a Waspinator. I'm going to go look. And no, he looks pretty close. I mean, the Waspinator on the show had a bigger thorax. He had a bigger ass end. But, I mean, this one looks pretty good.
Ant-Man can't find map on a thorax.
That was a Beast Wars. But anyways, I like how Waspinator has an explosion moment in itty-bitty pieces. And he still functions.
And he still says his famous line.
Waspinator has plans.
Yes.
I love that.
And of course, I like the fact that Black Arachnia was transported to the Beast Wars. And it almost alludes to the fact that she knows what that timeline is. So it's kind of strange.
See, that's the thing that I don't really get, though. They have never really said, throughout Bulkhead's entire speech about transwarping and space bridges and everything else, they've never said in this series that it can go through time and space. Just that it warps you around the galaxy randomly. And this is the first time that this does kind of, as much as I like the homage to the Beast Wars characters at the end, this does feel kind of forced because they don't really explain it. They don't ever say, oh, well, the transwarp stuff can go through space and time. They never specifically say it in this series. They said it in Beast Wars, but they didn't say it here.
I don't get the impression that she went through time. I don't get the impression that she went back to prehistoric Earth to start the Beast Wars series. Derek Wyatt basically said, don't read too much into it.
Well, I know not to read too much into it, because, I mean, of course, it is Larry DiTillio and Bob Forward just in this particular episode tying some of it back into Beast Wars for irony's sake.
Yeah.
But I could almost and it almost makes sense, but it almost doesn't. I could almost equate this to Black Arachnia's first arrival out of the stasis pod, like being formed in the Beast Wars world, and then looking in on her as if they had been there. So I mean, it could almost be like she transported her to that stasis pod and woke up and was like, "Oh, bloody hell!" But
you know, there's a lot of ways you could interpret it, but it's just.
But it doesn't fit with any way of that it could connect to Beast Wars. But I do still like the nice touch of that she was transported and there are those characters staring her in the face.
Yeah.
So,
it was a nice reference.
Yes, it was a nice reference, and I do like the fact that they did it, but obviously it doesn't fit whatsoever as far as that's concerned. But I just like, I can't remember the line she says at the end, but I like the fact that she acknowledges the fact that she's just kind of like, crap.
Yeah, she's like, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
And there are these huge, I mean, on what planet would a rat be almost the same size as the cheetah?
That's true.
It's a rat.
So it kind of equates the fact that it probably is somewhat Beast Wars, wherever this is. You could almost equate it somewhere that Black Arachnia was either A, destroyed, or B, something happened, and then, she was replaced temporarily with this. I almost wanted to do that for, like, when she died in Season 3, except for the fact that there's no transmetals here.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's not any way that you could really tie it in, but I like the touch. So it's, I like this episode overall.
Right, yeah, and the thing is, I mean, because I'm looking at the wiki, because I was looking at the wiki for the Waspinator toy, but in the notes on the Waspinator character page, Derek Wyatt states on his blog that this incarnation of Waspinator is inspired by his Beast Wars counterpart, but made more monstrous and bug-like. Wyatt examined photographs of actual wasps, nature shows like Life in the Undergrowth, and monster movies for inspiration. The FX Studio Audio Circus added the insectoid clicks and other background sounds for the character. And Derek himself has always been a Waspinator fanboy ever since I've known him on Twitter, and even when we were doing Beast Unleashed, and I would, send him the screen caps of Waspinator that I had taken originally in Beast Wars. He's always been a Beast Wars fanboy. As far as the way that the writers handle it, I don't know. I mean, Derek is just character design. I'm not trying to take away from his job, but his job is, art direction and lead character designer on the show. Really, he has nothing to do with the story writing.
I think he has more than most art directors do.
Yeah, that's true.
I think he has an awful lot of input into the storylines, especially where Marty Eisenberg is involved.
Yeah, no, I know that, but what I'm saying is that I don't know. Like, I know he had a lot to contribute, but I'm not sure, like, individual writers like Michael Ryan, like, whoever, I'm not sure how much he was able to contribute to each episode, so.
Well, that and, well, yeah, I was going to say, when it comes down to homages that may pop up in the background and things like Wyatt toys or things like that. That's all him, and it doesn't necessarily have to be something that was specified in the script.
Right.
It's just, well, we need a location, and he would build that or have that built. So, I mean, even if it's not something specifically mentioned by the writers or by the script writers, it's still, his within his purview.
Right. One last thing I'll mention before Michael talks about his notes is one of the things I absolutely loved when Wasp was no longer an Autobot. He's now a quote-unquote fugitive. In the fugitive Waspinator mode in this episode, he has no faction symbol. He just has a black spot on his chest. That could also be homaging the G1 rub signs too, so.
But when he comes out of the Brundlefly teleporter, he's a Decepticon.
Waspinator, sick of being evil, sick of being Predacon.
That didn't happen till the end.
I know.
What did you have for?
Predacons Rising.
Yes.
Let's see. I wasn't terribly happy to see Grimlock. Kind of sick of Grimlock, to be honest. I'm tired of him.
Yeah. My problem with Grimlock is they show him, but they don't ever use him. Like they would rather use Snarl or Slag, whatever, and they don't want to use Grimlock. That makes no sense.
Well, it's like, hey, we're at the island now. Who do we talk to? Well, the only Dinobot that talks, which is Grimlock, and it's like, all right, we're kind of sick of talking to Grimlock at this point. But I especially liked Sentinel Prime's reaction to Elita 1, or more to the point, his reaction to Black Arachnia being Elita 1. And I mean, that was kind of heartfelt up until the point where he said, a robot with an organic mode, ew. Ew, and I kind of get that, I understand, but at the same time, he's very serious when he says, this is wrong. I need to stop this. I'm sorry about what. He didn't actually apologize, but it's like, he feels it. This is my fault. This is something that I let happen, and now I have to stop it. And he's more than happy to, skewer her with the lance. Oh, that didn't sound right. Yeah.
Spider kebabs.
Spider kebabs. Yeah. But no, I like that. I liked Waspinator. I liked the whole, have you ever seen The Fly? Not the old black and white.
My mother probably forced me to watch it when I was 6 years old, which scarred me for life on horror movies. But
he's scared of The Fly.
Yes. What?
Jeff Goldblum? You're scared of Jeff Goldblum?
At 6 years old, anybody would be scared of Jeff Goldblum.
I don't believe in dinosaurs.
Exactly.
Wow.
Have you ever heard of Fly?
Yeah, I mean that's where this episode kind of comes from. It's an homage. Well, not this episode, but the Waspinators.
The Brundle teleporter, right? So the doors of the Brundle teleporter open up, and Waspinator comes out, and it's like, oh my god, it's a Brundle fly.
He's like, peekaboo.
He puts a shotgun to his head.
Here we are.
Yeah, but anyway, I like Waspinator. I thought it was interesting. I mean, it's like, well, we can't just have mad science going on here. We have to explain it, and the fact that the Brundle teleporter was literally supposed to be a teleporter pod. You step into one pod, and whatever you put in there is magically sent over to the other pod and reconstituted. That's why there were two of them side by side in
Right.
Black Arachnia's lab. But the science behind Black Arachnia's experiments are transwarp energy. Transwarp energy is basically what the Transformers consider teleporting. So you go into warp speed, you're transwarping. So you disappear in one place and reappear in another. So I thought that
Ludicrous speed, go!
Exactly. So that's I thought that was an interesting connection to make. I wasn't really happy when Waspinator went critical, because it's like, all right, because we use transwarp energy to teleport him or to mangle him or whatever. Now he's so full of transwarp energy that he goes critical and teleports everything around him.
Well, he didn't teleport everything. Black Arachnia put a cocoon around the two of them, and she basically shielded. I mean, if he had teleported everything, Optimus and all of them would have ended up on that planet or wherever the hell.
Well, I think she shielded them just enough, but still, there's a goodly chunk, a big circle of that island that disappeared.
Yeah.
And I mean, when I say everything, I mean a big circle of the island went with them. And if you look, well, at the island afterward, it looks like there's like a bay where the water came in.
Yeah.
That was a circle that disappeared. If you look at the end where, in the Beast Wars moment, it looks like they're in a forest. And I'm pretty sure that forest was the chunk of island that was teleported elsewhere. So you really can't see outside of the forest, but that chunk could have landed anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, but that was part of my weird harebrained explanation as to why there were animals there.
Oh.
Because, it could have been, they could have landed in the jungle. They could have, I don't want to say they're not even on the same planet there, but we're way too far-fetched. I prefer to take Derek Wyatt's advice and just not think too deeply into it.
Otherwise your brain will hurt.
Exactly. I think that when he first mentioned that on Twitter, I had created a graphic. It was one of those, internet meme type things, and it had the screenshot of the Beast Wars animals, and at the top it said something like, don't think too much into it, and then below it says, Beast Wars animals, your argument is invalid. I forget. I'll send you a link. I forget exactly what I said, but I thought it was funny at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing I didn't mention was Wasp. Before Wasp became Waspinator, he kind of looks at the teleporter unit and says, "No, thank you."
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was awesome. He's like, I don't think this is a good idea. And then she shoves him in, and he starts screaming, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's gonna hurt."
Oh, take it like a Predacon, Waspinator.
It's the one thing this whole show is missing.
Yes. It would have been so much better if they'd gotten Beast Wars Megatron in there as well.
I can't argue with that.
And they would have killed Optimus Prime.
Who'd win in a fight? Didn't we ask David K. who'd win in a fight? Beast Wars Megatron, or I think it was season 4.
Yeah,
Season 4 Optimus would actually have a running. But if not, being that season 4 did not occur, Optimus Prime would be underneath my heel.
Or your T-Rex claw.
Or
he might be under your cloak. Ooh.
I would not let a dirty Autobot under my cloak. Come here, Blockarachnia.
Under his cloaca? What?
Under my cloak.
Somewhere in his cloaca.
You goddamn dirty ape.
It's dark and warm in here.
That's the only line that was missing from Beast Wars.
Goddamn dirty ape.
Get your hands off me, you goddamn dirty ape. Moving on.
I
Do we have anything else for Predacons Rising?
I should have been in it.
No, I just want to hear Beast Wars Megatron ramble for another half hour. This is awesome.
No, because we'll be here all night.
Oh, I so miss Beast Unleashed.
Oh, crap. Alright, we're gonna move on.
Initiating final phase of Operation Autobot Reprogramming. Soon the Autobots will unite with us. Soon they will call themselves Decepticons.
Up next is the Human Error two-parter. We're going to be talking about Part 1 and Part 2. So for Part 1, Porter C. Powell is selling Soundwave action figures on Christmas.
For $19.99. How does he do it?
And this has Optimus feeling a little uneasy. All seems well, though, until the Autobots wake up the next morning and discover that they have been turned into humans. And with the Autobots out of the way, the Decepticons move in with a full-scale assault. Is this the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 27th holiday in TFA? I cannot keep fucking track at this point.
It's been like 5 years because they've celebrated Christmas like 4 times.
But yet, Sari is just now explaining to them what the fuck Christmas is.
Celebrate it until she got her big upgrade, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Oil Nog, seriously? This is the one. This is one thing that I really hate about the TFA language is that they're turning all of the Christmas stuff into Transformer stuff. Are you serious?
The oil nog.
Oh,
Well, it's
I like
like
the
Autobot
Soundwave.
push-ups or whatever, and it's just
Transform
so
ups.
stupid. Yeah,
I like
transform ups or sparklings or whatever.
Drop and give me 20 transform ups. I like that Soundwave spikes the oil nog. He like wanders
before
over there,
Well, you kind of jumped ahead on that.
slips him a roofie, you know.
You got
I
him
liked
drunk.
how he did it though because it looked like his G1 thingamajigger on his right shoulder. His G1 accessory.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the question is, really, during this whole Christmas scene where Bumblebee and Bulkhead are like trying to guess what their presents are, after that we see a Soundwave action figure pop out of one of their gifts. Where did Sari get the money for the Soundwave toy, and why the frag would she buy Bulkhead and Bumblebee one? Hello, it nearly destroyed them all.
Did she?
Yeah, but they don't remember that.
Okay, the two presents Bumblebee and Bulkhead have. One's a red one and the other one's a different color. I don't remember off the top of my head. The red one that Bulkhead sets down, a Soundwave action figure popped up out of that box.
I thought maybe the Soundwave action figures had infiltrated all the other toys.
That probably could be. Oh boy, a dream sequence episode, lovely. For the most part, humans. 90. Okay, I would say 95% of the time, humans in animated, especially human villains or human interactions, almost really suck. But I like the Automen, damn it. It was kind of cool. One of the reasons why it was cool is because they all loosely resemble the voice actors behind the Autobots. Well, in the case of Optimus, he's dead on David Kaye.
Yeah, he turned right into David Kaye.
Yeah.
It was funny because he was like, Prime, look at you. You're hideous.
Ratchet's probably the most far off from the voice actor.
From Corey Burton?
Yes.
I don't even know what the guy looks like now.
Oh, I didn't think the Bulkhead looked much like Bill Fagerbakke, but
The only time I think I've ever seen Bill in something live action, I hate to say this, but it's a Disney Channel original movie called The Ultimate Christmas Present with Spencer Breslin.
He's in a Stephen King movie.
Oh.
The Stand.
M-O-O-O-N spells moon.
Yeah.
He was, this is funny, he was just in the latest episode of How I Met Your Mother, because he plays Steven Seagal's father. And it was weird because I saw him and I'm like, he's dead. And I had to go and look on IMDb real quick to make sure he was dead. Because I'm thinking, he can't be in this show now. He died sometime this year.
Who did?
Bill Fagerbakke.
Did he?
He's dead, yeah.
No way.
You didn't, well, that was one of the things I was going to bring up during the Tom Kenny interview, and I forgot about it. It probably would have been a little
Hey,
insensitive.
is your co-host or your coworker dead? He's not.
Who's going to take over Bill Fagerbakke's role? He lives right here. Right
He's not even
here
dead.
in all of us.
You're full of shit.
Bill Fagerbakke is dead.
No, he's not.
Look
I just
on
checked his
IMDb.
IMDb, jackass.
It says he died in 2011.
He's not dead.
Hold on.
Born William Mark Fagerbakke, October 4th, 1957 in Fontana, California. There is no date of death on his IMDb.
I just looked.
He's still doing SpongeBob through next year.
Well, it would be if he hadn't died.
He's still alive. I think you're on crack, sir, and you need to have your head re-examined.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck is wrong with you, Michael Wilson?
Hold on.
He's not dead.
He's not dead, dude.
I'm sure he's not dead.
I'm positive. We are looking. Why would they?
I think you were hoping you were probably hoping in your mind that it was Steven Seagal or whatever, but it's not.
No. Actually, if you're looking at IMDb, there's a picture of him. He's in the pink pajamas there. I thought that was funny, but
M-O-O spells moon.
maybe.
All right. So getting back to this,
It's entirely possible I'm wrong. You know.
You are
I
wrong.
thought he was dead. I thought he died.
He didn't die.
Oh well, I'm glad he's not dead.
Yeah.
So Prowl is taking to the nature more than ever now. Now that he's human, he can experience nature and throwing snowballs and all that crap.
But he needs to eat
Eating
explosive
vegan food.
beans.
No, yeah.
He needs explosive beans.
Well, he wasn't the one exploding.
Yeah.
Bulkhead had the explosive diarrhea.
Let's transform roll. Let's just go. Okay. This again, and see, this is what makes those. This kind of is what Michael said. It kind of probably makes more sense that the Soundwave toys infiltrated the Autobot base, because fucking Sumdac gives Sorry another Soundwave toy. Are you serious?
He likes it.
Worst father ever.
It sings and dances, and it was only $19.99.
Why does your fuel look different? I got the vegetarian fuel. Let's all eat healthy, kids.
It burns cleaner.
Yeah, I think that's the truth.
It doesn't make you have explosive diarrhea like Bulkhead.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you notice Marty Eisenberg was at the Burger Bot?
No, I didn't.
The Burger Bot.
No, I didn't notice that.
He was there. He was there with two characters that I did not recognize, but he was there for some reason.
Yeah.
And they showed him twice. They actually went back and did like a close up on him, so you knew it was him.
Okay, so this giant explosion happens out in front of the Burger Bot, and the building's on fire. Some woman's kid's stuck upstairs. Now, this woman has been in the series throughout it, but this woman is not Carly. Carly
She's the tan one.
Yeah. Wow.
What? There's a tan lady who
Yeah.
occasionally takes care of Daniel.
But the kid wasn't Daniel, though.
No, the kid sounded suspiciously like Tara Strong.
Probably was, but I'm saying the animated model of the child that was in trouble was not Daniel, because we'll see Daniel later on.
It was Gary.
It was
Gary's mother.
And that's funny. Okay, so Sorry. She searches the entire base, can't find the Autobots, and she doesn't see that something is wrong with this.
She thought they were ditching her.
Okay, I know this is a dream sequence episode and this whole thing that the Autobots were in virtual reality, but is it just me or did Tom Kenny deepen the Starscream voice? Starscream didn't sound like his normal, like the normal version of Starscream that we've had so far. I don't have a problem with it. It just sounded way different to me.
He's a clone. It's a trap.
I hadn't noticed. I liked Starscream's stock footage, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally had like a whole minute of stock transformation, and it was just really awesome to see.
Yes. The Autobots on the bus, and this is where we see Spike and Daniel, but oh god, seriously, they have to take public transportation now?
They're just lucky they live in a big city.
Throwing the axe into the fusion cannon, that was a very awesome moment.
Not as awesome as when he beat him with his own arm. Picks up Megatron's arm and beats him with it. That was awesome. I mean, far-fetched, impossible, but it was still awesome.
That needle comes anywhere near Wendell's legs, I'll rip your arms and legs off and beat you to death with them. Sorry, that's a Varsity Blues reference.
Sorry,
anyway.
Don't watch that.
Of course, I'm not going to be able to do it justice, but I loved it. Autobots inferior, Soundwave superior. That was awesome.
Oh, that was cool. I like that.
And soon the Autobots will call themselves Decepticons. So, Steve, what did you have for part 1?
I like the homage to the classic Generation 1 episode. It just needed Starscream or Cobra Commander.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no old Snake in this one.
Yeah. It would have been only good if they'd gotten Scott McNeil to do it, as he's the only close enough impersonator to the original. But it would have been
or old Snake,
Cobra Commander.
Cobra Commander, yeah.
Yes. It would have been nice to see that in there as a joke. just having him walking down the street, saying they just don't make them like they used to, and then saying Cobra. That would have been cool. And then I like the fact that David Kay's Optimus Prime looks damn near what he looks like. It's quite humorous.
He's hideous.
Yeah, he's hideous.
I don't know. David Kaye is a very handsome man. I don't mind saying it.
Okay. What else, Steve?
Other than that, I don't really care for this episode. I like the fact that Soundwave's kind of, gave them a virtual mindfuck, but and turned them evil.
Oh, wow. This is like, wow. He inceptionalized them.
They had to go deeper.
Yeah,
That's what she said.
Oh.
Escape is impossible.
Yeah. But yeah, I like the references to the classic G1 humans, but other than the whole sequence there, yeah, I don't particularly care. There is a little nice virtual cookie for people that are paying attention. Prime's trailer is actually in the episode while he's laying on the table. It's in the darkness off in the back.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
That was trailer storage.
Yep, and that was G1 trailer.
I think they have a better picture of that in the Allspark Almanac.
Oh yeah,
but you couldn't really see it in this episode. I didn't think.
Yeah, the picture in the almanac is much better.
But the cookie is there, so.
Yes, it is. All right, Michael, what do you got for part 1?
Just a few things. I like the Sari is back. I like that Tara Strong has made her sound older, has gotten her into her teenager voice. It's less squeaky.
Right.
I like that Prowl is still in his samurai gear.
Yeah, you said last episode that we never see it again. I think we see it all the way up to the end of the show.
I've seen him in almost every episode so far, and I'm thinking, yeah, he's not going to change out of that samurai gear.
No, he's not. But he'll keep it to the end of the show.
Yeah, this is the Prowl toy they were selling at the time, though, so
yeah,
I'll take that. And again, very cool toy. I like that look.
Besides that sidecar bullshit, but anyway.
I like the sidecar. I like that Team Char shows up in the Inception.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's the full-on Decepticon attack there, and they showed them very briefly, but they were there. Yeah, they were shooting. They were on Earth destroying things. At the very end, we see White Soundwave. Or Shattered Glass Soundwave, if you will.
Yep.
Shattered Glass animated Soundwave. That's another toy that we'll never get. Kind of aggravated about that. I think I'd like that one.
I like the Sound Blaster version. Oh wait, is that that's in part 2, isn't it? Yeah, that's in part 2.
Yeah, the Sound Blaster version was released with the Keytar.
He was released as Electrostatic Soundwave, but he wasn't fully like. That gray on that toy sucks. It would have been better if that toy was black.
Yeah, I can't really see it in my closet right now, or it's on my shelf here somewhere. I did manage to pull Waspinator out to play with him for a second, but
stop playing with your wasp and continue with your notes.
Playing with my toys. Yeah, actually, I think that they were going to release a like the jump starter version of Soundwave in those colors, and they never did. Let's see if I can do this justice here.
Autobots inferior, Soundwave superior.
Nah, that didn't work out very well.
It worked, but it's still not. It's still not the G1.
Not quite. It's not Welker. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and the Autobots turn human, and then they turn evil.
Mm-hmm.
So we're totally mixing up our sci-fi tropes here.
Yep.
And we can't just stick with one.
Don't like it.
So, I don't know. You know, I liked it. I didn't like that they drug it out into 2 episodes. It's like, all right, you know what? We know we're in La La Land. Can we just get out and fix things?
Mhm.
You know, but they don't. They drag it into another episode, and on top of that, you know, you're just complaining about, oh, it's another holiday episode. Well, they have a 2-episode long Christmas episode.
Yeah, they just got to wreck that garbage.
Yeah, but yeah, we got Laserbeak in this one, so that makes up for it.
Yep.
And the next one we get Ratbat. And
Oh yeah.
hey,
I like Ratbat. I
Ratbat.
I like Laserbeak, but Ratbat was much cooler in the animation.
Kita. Yeah, no, that was very cool. But that's all I got.
Now I did look up the Soundwave images for the toys, and the Electrostatic, the one we got, which is the link I just put in the chat. It's not gray like I thought it was, but it's like a dark navy thing, and I don't know. I don't really care for it. I think it would have been better if it was just black, rather than the navy-ish, grayish thing. And then the other one, the one that we won't get, is Electromagnetic Soundwave, which is the white version.
Oh, there's the picture. Let me see.
Basically, it's could be a white Ultra Magnus out of a Decepticon.
You know, this the picture you sent is black and white, but I've seen color pictures of this. In fact, somebody was just circulating photos of this on TFW. And it's pretty sharp. It's kind of a very, very pale bluish white with light blue trim. It looks nice. I thought it was cool. I would have bought it.
Yeah.
But I was really into that whole, I forget what they call them, but they're essentially like jump starters. You push a button and they're spring-loaded.
Yeah, that's what they're called, is jump starters, because Twin Twist and Twin Twist. What's the other? Top Spin and Twin Twist. That's what it is. Yeah.
In G1 they were called jump starters. I don't think they called them jump starters here.
No, the activators.
Activator. I was thinking alternators, but that's a completely different line. So the activators line. I liked. Yeah, I bought all the activators. I loved them. In fact, I really wanted that. I think it was a Skywarp version, but that was only in Japan.
Yeah.
I totally would have bought the hell out of that.
All right, let's move on to part 2. With Soundwave having trapped the Autobots in virtual reality, Sari must free them before Soundwave completely turns them into Decepticons.
Too late.
She ends up... What?
Too late.
She ends up gaining unlikely allies in Snarl, Scrapper, and Wreck-Gar, whom she dubs the quote-unquote substitute Autobots. Kill me now. I love Wreck-Gar, but seriously...
It rules. It rules so hard.
I love Wreck-Gar. I love the fact that he's finally back. He's not at the bottom of the sea anymore. But seriously, Snarl and Scrapper, give me a freaking break. And what the fuck was that? Was he supposed to be Crocodile Dundee, for Christ's sake?
He was Castaway.
Oh, fucking Tom Hanks and Wilson.
Wilson!
God.
He had a straw hat and a rusty beard.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
I only think I've ever seen trailers and clips of Castaway. I don't think I've ever watched the whole long-ass movie all the way through.
So not worth it.
We gotta just watch his mashed taters.
So, Soundwave has to now put on his organic control operation. Really? Organic control? He can control... Are you serious? Ugh. All this mind
He
control...
ships them and he puts them in a big box and sends them to Canada, and then...
All I know is when he started playing Ratbat, he gave me an organism.
Okay then. Mind control over core programming. I almost said power over matter. Wow. Processor.
Processor over
takes
matter.
the cake and Prowl breaks free, but fakes being on Soundwave's side. Now, I meant to say this last week when Prowl first, when we were talking about 5 Servers of Doom, when Prowl first started, doing the processor over matter, I'm like, so he's basically shaking his pom-poms. Because processor over matter is POM.
Oh, POM, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
I foresee processor over matter here being the new Allspark key. So
probably, yeah.
Anytime we get the slightest jam, he goes, and it fixes it.
Everything's better. My hands are full.
And then enter the substitute Autobots. God. Okay, as I said a second ago, it's nice to see Retgar again, but oh my God.
Ender.
Wait, what? What are you talking about, Steve?
The group.
And
the group what?
Of the replacement Autobots. Nothing. You guys are dumb. Just keep going.
No, explain
you lost me. I'm lost. I don't know what you're talking
Basically, he's the leader of the replacement Autobots.
Retgar?
Okay.
Yes.
I thought Sari was the leader.
Well, whatever.
She was the one bitching about being a leader.
She's a piece of shit, so.
Resistance is futile. Get your Star Trek shit out of my Transformers.
Dark of the Moon.
I know, but this is really where I really finally caught on to it. I caught on to it in Dark of the Moon, but I just didn't give a shit at that point.
I'm surprised that you know enough Star Trek to catch that, actually. So,
excuse me, I grew up watching Next Generation. Just because I don't watch a lot of it, I don't pay attention to a lot of it now. I grew up watching Next Generation. I have seen probably 10 episodes of Deep Space Nine. I've seen plenty of the movies. I've seen Star Trek. It's not like me and Harry Potter where I just refuse to fucking watch the shit.
And Lord of the Rings.
No, I've seen
the first 5 minutes. I know.
45 minutes out of
14 hours worth of movie.
There's only one 3-hour movie that I actually sat all the way through, and that was because of a girl, and that was fucking Titanic. I will never sit through another 3-hour movie again, especially one that has wizards and magic and a bunch of stupid crap.
Oh.
Anyways, accordion playing Retgar. Yay, Weird Al.
Yay.
Your axe is useless, Autobot, but yours isn't.
Prime with the guitar is epic.
Rockstar Prime, yes.
Rockstar Prime.
I am Retgar. I am the hero. I will clean up this town.
Garbage for all the good little boys and girls.
Girls.
Ho, ho, ho.
Like, Merry Christmas. Steve, here's some trash.
What did you have for part 2, Steve?
I like it for the sheer fact that the Autobots go back to normal and Retgar's return, and of course Soundwave's final bow out. Overall, I don't really care for it, but it wasn't as... It's not as bad as some of, like, season 1 or 2. I would much rather watch this than watch that. So, it was kind of nice and kind of fun to watch if you're not looking for something that makes a whole hell of a lot of sense.
Right.
But it's not bad overall. I'd rather watch this over season 1 or 2 one-off episodes.
Yeah.
And Prime of the Guitar does look kind of cool.
It does.
So if it was this or Professor Princess?
Dude, anytime a human comes up, you know I'm going to choose something else over.
But they're all humans in this one. I shouldn't say all of them,
Hence why I didn't care for those parts as much.
That's the why you have substitute Autobots.
Yes, because at least they're robots. And granted, nobody likes most of them, but that's the other thing they've got.
I did like how they humanized them. They humanized them as much as they could, kind of like what was done in Only Human in G1. But again, it doesn't matter that they're human because they still have the same goddamn personalities. I mean, Ratchet and Prime I give passes to because I like those guys, but Bumblebee and Bulkhead, even in human form, they're both fucking annoying as hell. So, what did you have for part 2, Michael?
I was wondering whether or not this is going to be a holiday episode because when it started, I mean, granted, it's part 2 of the last episode, which was a holiday episode, but they didn't actually mention it. I mean, but it's still snowy outside, but they didn't say, oh, you know, this is all about Christmas. Until the end, when you've got Rekgar saying, ho, 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 garbage for all the good little children. And I think the last thing that Sari says, it's something about it being a silent night.
Well, I think the way you can look at the two-parter is part 1 is, say, Christmas Eve going into Christmas Day, and then part 2 is Christmas Day afternoon going into Christmas night. So it does take the span of the 24 hours of Christmas.
See, that's what Snoopy needs. We need one Snoopy special for Christmas Eve, and then the next day you can watch a whole new Snoopy special about Christmas Day.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. I love Snoopy.
Back to the robots.
I like it's like this is all one big episode. So Spike and Daniel never go away, and Carly shows up. Carly's there too. I thought that was kind of cool. So we get multiple G1 human references, as if we don't have enough humans in here already. One of my favorite characters in this episode might have to be Snarl. And not just because he's a giant dinosaur, but I like the way that the Scrapper communicates with him. You know, because Snarl doesn't talk. He's like a big dumb German Shepherd. But Scrapper's like, "Hi ho, Snarly, away!" You know, he calls him Snarly, and Snarl runs away, and he goes, "Hey, Snarl, wait for Daddy."
Yeah, Snarl and Scrapper, you know, man's best dino friend.
I like that.
I like the line I do like the line that Scrapper says when Optimus pretty much just picks Snarl up by the horn and body slams him down in the snow. Hey, cruelty to Dinobots!
There is no PETA here.
Exactly. You know, and this is an issue that I had when I first got the toy, is that they named him Snarl, which in G1 was the name of the Stegosaurus. And that bothered me because he should have been named, in my opinion, Slag. Because that was the name of that dinosaur type at G1. And Scrapper actually mentions this. He says, I was going to name him Slag, but I thought he would take it as an insult.
That's because they turned Slag into a curse word.
Right, Slag now means poop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it means poop. It could mean a couple of things, but they still haven't quite nailed down which bad words mean what yet.
Yeah.
I like the epic battle with the substitute Autobots. That was fun. At the end, you got it was funny because I think they're winning. You know, they think that they've got the best of Soundwave, and Scrapper says, "Hey, not bad for a bunch of losers." and then Prime, you know, does something, and they all fly in the air, and I was like, "A bunch of losers blasting off again." It was a very Team Rocket moment, which we haven't had in a long time.
Yes.
It used to be the staple of every episode. We have to have a Team Rocket moment, but this was classic. It just ding.
Yep. Yep. You know, and the other thing that really makes me wonder is at the very end of the episode that Laserbeak comes in. I think it was Laserbeak. I don't think it was Ratbat. I think it was Laserbeak. Comes in and swoops down and grabs the Soundwave cassette deck. Where is he flying off to? I mean, Megatron's floating through space. You know, honestly, you know, you mentioned earlier, Michael, in this episode today about, you know, that Black Arachnia, kind of like Tarantulas, but really, I see Soundwave in this episode more like Tarantulas because he's experimenting on the Autobots, and he has this underground base.
Under their base.
Yeah.
All your base are belongs to us.
Yes, yes. Anything else for Human Error?
No, I don't know. I can't quite say that I hated it as much as you guys did. Or
I thought it was all right.
Kevin won't even talk about it. I enjoyed it. I guess I can't say I hated it. I did like it. But I probably like the next one better.
Yes, and we are moving on to that now.
I needed that. Ooh, my. What a golden opportunity.
The Autobot fools will pay for their insolence. Remove these stasis cuffs at once.
All in good time. First, we need to discuss compensation. You get freedom, but what do I get? You see where I'm going here?
The honor of serving Megatron should be reward enough.
Megatron? Why didn't you say so? The old warmonger's my #1 customer. Now, let's see about getting you rearmed. It's been stellar cycles, but I never forget a weapon. Naturally, everything comes with a 1,000,000 solar cycle warranty, excluding battle damage, of course.
May I just say what an admirer I am of the noble arms-dealing profession?
Enough talk. Let's kick some Autobot skin plate. Yeah.
Oh, I would never do that.
In the glorious name of Megatron, revenge shall be ours.
Dig it, Commander. We split the heavy weather scene full and clear.
Don't sound so surprised. Better check on the prisoners.
You Autobots will pay. Pay with your sparks.
I also accept all major credit downloads.
The alarms didn't make a peep. How's that even possible?
The Sonic Jammer 3000. Don't leave Cybertron without it. But wait! There's more. It also has a stasis suspension ray. Handy for those tight spots. Pick this baby up on Quintessa. Nice folks, the Quintessons. Give you a good deal and all the oil you can drink.
All very fascinating, Sphinder.
But we must crush them into scrap!
We need backup. Call Cybertron.
And let them know this happened on my watch? I'd rather go offline.
That can be arranged.
And finally up today is Decepticon Air. The space bridge on Earth is finished, whilst the Elite Guard ship holding most of the Decepticon prisoners heads straight into ominous Space Storm. The Space Storm reactivates Swindle, who frees the Decepticon prisoners, allowing them to take over the ship. This episode title is a parody of the 1997 action film Con Air, Where's Nicolas Cage When You Really Need Him, which centered around a plane carrying prisoners. Some of the action scenes aboard the Elite Guard ship also pay homage to the 1988 film Die Hard. I did not realize this until I remembered the elevator scene.
The elevator scene?
When Optimus goes upstairs to the Energon thing, and he says this Energon is unstable enough that should do it. He cuts the elevator cable, just like John McClane did in Die Hard, and sends the elevator all the way down to explode.
Yeah. I was just wondering why a spaceship would have cables on the elevator, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Again, I don't think I've said it enough in this episode, but I'm getting, at this point, watching through the entire series, I'm getting really sick of the TFA jargon. Bot your posts? Really? Seriously? Oh my god, it's pissing me off. Did we know that Phil Lamar did Alpha Trion?
I didn't know that.
Yep, Phil Lamar was Alpha Trion. There we go. That's what I meant to say.
There you go.
Which again, I don't know if it's them putting effects behind his voice or if it's Phil just doing a completely different voice. Again, this is just like Jetstorm, another voice of his that I don't hear him in it.
I was really happy to see Alpha Trion.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. Sentinel is such a dumbass. His actions of sending them into the storm let the cons escape, damn it. Is it just me, or did Redface Angry Blitzwing's voice, did it get deeper or change? It sounds a hell of a lot different in this episode than it has in the past.
Couldn't say. I think they all sound the same.
I don't know. And of course, with Swindle's all about the mentions and the homages. You have Quintessa, but I don't ever remember seeing a beach island on Nebulos.
No, the whole thing was all jungle.
I know. And when Optimus transforms, oh no, wait, hold on. Before I have to back up because I'm jumping ahead of my own damn self. They're logging on to the transwarp signature on the ship, and Swindle apparently has a personal transwarp generator inside himself that goes to his personal storage dimension. Swindle gave birth to Optimus Prime.
And Optimus Prime said, "Give me your face.
We will kill them all." But I love when Optimus transforms, because Sentinel's like, "What are you waiting for? Attack!" I'm waiting for better odds. He transforms. As he's driving off, he flattens Swindle. He just flat out Tom and Jerry cartoon flattens him.
Two-dimensional Swindle.
Yeah, exactly. And it reminded me almost of Optimus in TFTM, running down thrust.
Yeah.
Maybe that Energon was too unstable. Hello, why didn't you move out of the fucking way instead
I was
of
just thinking.
standing?
Yeah, because real men don't look at explosions. They always have them behind them.
Yeah. I know we don't really like the Jet Twins, but their spiral move to combine, I kind of like the way that looks.
Yeah, I didn't like it. Just, what bothers me about them? They're in space, right?
Yeah.
There's no wind in space. There's no atmosphere in space, and that you can still make tornadoes in space. It's like, I'm Batman and I can breathe in space. It's like, no, that doesn't work. That's not how it works. You don't make tornadoes in space. It's impossible.
Speaking of superhero references, Freezing Chamber Reversal. Can you say Superman 2 reference?
Oh, they so pulled a Superman 2. Yeah. I was ready for Lois Lane to come out and punch one of them in the face.
Actually, yeah. I didn't mention this in the Human Error episode, but what I absolutely loved about the Autobots being humans, and this is one of my only, again, throughout the entire podcast, probably one of the only times I will ever say anything good about Bumblebee, is when he jumped up and was basically, "Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself?" to Blitzwing, and his heads are spinning around. I thought that was fucking awesome. But anyway,
I like the reference they make to that on the wiki where it says, "You spin me right round."
Yeah, you spin me right round, baby. The Dead or Alive song. Yeah. And my final note. So now we're picking up Hitchhikers. All right. So yes, that's it for me. What do you have, Steve?
I have the fact that it's like Pioneer. I love the whole Decepticon, build up of how they're all getting ready to kick some major ass. Yes. I'm getting tired of Sentinel extremely at this point, being that he wants to be the new Magnus.
Yeah.
Because he's a Magnus douche. He'll be called Dumas Maximus. That's what they'll call him. Swindle actually got a good episode this time.
Yep.
Whereas before I didn't really care because one, there were humans in it, and two, it was too much. And that episode, I couldn't watch it. This one redeems itself. This one gives Swindle a better showing. And I do love how Prime does the transwarp. Give me a face. So, it's quite nice, yes. So, overall, I like this episode. I like how it's starting to play out, and I'm definitely glad that it's leading up to the last 3 episodes with some kind of an action stride, kind of foreshadowing what could happen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was very, very cool.
Mm.
So, Michael, what do you have for Decepticon Air?
A few things. I like the fact that they got the warp gate built, but when did they find time to build a warp gate? I mean, they've been busy being humans for the last 2 episodes. I didn't actually check.
Continuity's all over the place in this show. So.
I know. I should have checked to see what month this was, because we just spent 2 episodes in the end of December. This could have been like April.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about that. My bad. Sari has the freaky ghost in the shell fingers.
Yeah.
It's kind of split open and she can type really fast. That was kind of weird. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Ghost in the Shell. It was just kind of weird to see her do that.
Yeah.
Why is it that Omega Supreme has a warp generator, but the Elite Guard flagship doesn't?
I have no idea.
Omega Supreme can jump, but Elite Guard flagship has to fly through space storms.
Well, but the reason why Omega can jump, he couldn't do that beforehand. The reason why he could do that was because at the end of Season 2, he assimilated all that transwarp energy when Megatron's space bridge blew up. He absorbed all that energy. So that's how he auto-transwarps, I think.
That would be a plausible explanation, but, at some point, Omega Supreme actually says, I'm warping now. And, it's something that he does.
But it doesn't happen before a bridge too close. Granted, before that, he was in the side of a mountain, but, I mean, even when he is flying from the mountain to wherever the Autobots are, he flies before a bridge too close. He doesn't transwarp until after.
Well, I mean, he's not flying back to Cybertron.
True.
So, I don't know. I just thought that was strange. I like Sentinel Prime's car alarm chirper.
Yeah, for the
chirp. Makes their mouth open and close.
Yeah, for the mouth clamps.
Why are the Decepticons not in their jail cells? They're all kind of huddling in the hall in front of their jail cell doors. And it's like, you're just asking for trouble like that. You gotta get them, behind the laser bars or whatever he's got going on there.
Yeah.
And maybe his car alarm chirper doesn't work through laser bars, but I'm not buying it. Chirp, chirp. I was really happy to hear Fred Willard again. Yep. I just dig Fred Willard. He's talking about the Quintessons, and he's talking about Nebulos, and he's talking about where the Energon is as smooth as a protoform's bottom.
Yeah.
Not that I know anything about protoform bottoms. I'm
right.
Just saying, hey. I like the helmets that Swindle gives to the Starscream clones, like the cone head.
Yeah.
So like the cone head. That's really
that
cool.
was awesome.
I like that. And I really like the homecoming parade. And this is another one of those things where I kind of feel that the writers just said, you know, there's a parade, and they've got the Decepticons chained up, and there's a bunch of Transformers lined up on either side of the road to cheer. And that's all the strip said. And then Derek White comes in and said, I'm going to put in Huffer, I'm going to put in Cosmos, I'm going to put in Beachcomber and Warpath and Trax and the Auto Rooper, you know.
Auto Trooper, yeah.
The Auto Rooper, if you're from Japan. And Susanna, the pink cassette.
You mean Rosanna. Rosanna, get it right. We don't want those G1
Susanna.
fanboys screaming at us. It's Rosanna.
Rosanna again, yeah. Take Me All the Way. She was there. I'm pretty sure that was Rosanna.
So putting that song in this episode now.
You'll forget.
Rosanna again. But, and I forget the names of the two floats, or the two transports they're working on.
Grandis and... what's the other one?
Grandis, yeah.
Grandis was one.
Like Fortress Maximus
or something.
No, Fortress Maximus is something completely different. No.
Yeah. No. Grandis it was this big, blocky, nasty Japanese toy that turned into a mobile base.
Yeah.
But there was two of them, and one of them was a repaint of Grandis, and I forget his name. But apparently Derek Wyatt knows because he put them both in there.
Yeah.
Later on, they show up in robot mode, but not till the last episode.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot to love here. I mean, you get to go back to Cybertron, and you get to see a whole bunch of G1 characters in animated form.
Oh yes.
They're not talking, they're not doing anything, but they're there, and it was really cool.
Yeah, it was. I mean, this whole episode was Doug Base, Grandis and Doug Base.
Yeah, like I'm gonna remember Doug Base. Okay.
Well, I'm just saying. I looked at the freaking wiki just to make sure that we had it right.
Again, I think this is one of those things that Derek Wyatt put on the Delightful Tedium. He actually, on his web page, it's like a Tumblr.
Right.
He had a picture. It was like, here's a sneak preview of characters that will appear in season 3. And this was between seasons when he posted this, but it was like a picture of the character mock-ups of all these characters, and I think they had at least one human character in there. It was Vangelis. You put Evangelist in there.
Yeah. That was the April Fool's image. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, how many of these are going to be in there? And they had the Super Mario and Luigi versions of Huffer and Pipes. That was funny, and I'm thinking, that's not going to be in there. That is just too far out. But no, Huffer was in there in this episode.
Yeah, Huffer and Pipes were Mario and Luigi.
Super Huffero. Or, no, I think it was Luigi. I think Pipes was Mario, and Huffer was Luigi.
Right, but what I'm saying is they were in there as Mario and Luigi, is what I'm saying.
Exactly. Yeah, they were plumbers, which was funny. I like that.
I just can't picture Megatron saying, I'll get you next time, plumbers!
Next time, get it.
Okay, Dr. Claw, you can go back to bed now.
I don't know, that was movie Soundwave.
Dr. Claw.
Exactly.
So, overall, this, human error for what it is, but Decepticon Air is really setting up.
For the last 3 episodes.
Yeah, well, it is the 4th in the final episodes of the series. It's really setting it up. It's really setting up the story of what's going to happen.
We're gearing up for Sentinel Prime's fascist state.
Oh god, yeah, next week, first thing. I can see why Fanzone hates machines.
What's coming up? You don't want to give too much away.
So, is that all you had for Decepticon Air?
That's it.
Alright, so we're going to head to some ads. some other stuff, and then we'll go to Cybertron to see what the Cybertronian correspondent had to say. I can't talk now either. Lovely.
I haven't been able to talk all night.
That's what she said.
Because she had a mouthful of...
Transformation Animation Podcast will be back after these messages.
Here's quote number 1.
This is a Cybertronian fugitive, and I'll enforce my authority as the Primer Prime. Did you just make that up? No. There's no such thing as a Primer Prime. It's a real term. Look it up. I'm not gonna look it up. Afraid I'm right.
Here's quote number 2.
Should we be taking notes on what not to do?
And quote number 3.
Full of yourself as ever, eh, Sentinel?
You know me?
I did once.
A robot? With an organic mode? Ew! There is no way I would ever have anything to do with a mutant freak like you!
Finally, quote number 4.
Man. Roll, let's just go.
You can now hear the Geekcast Radio Network while on the go with Stitcher Smart Radio. Stitcher is a free use and talk mobile app available for your smartphone. And when you download Stitcher to hear Geekcast Radio, you'll have a chance to win money. Downloading is quick and easy. Just find Stitcher in the App Store. During registration, hit the promo code box and enter Geekcast Radio, all one word, to get automatically entered to win $100. The latest episodes of the shows will be waiting for you in your favorites. You'll get access to lots of other amazing shows too. Always available to you on demand, no syncing. It's Stitcher Smart Radio. Don't forget to enter promo code Geekcast Radio when you register. Soundwave, jam that transmission!
Rumble Frenzy, Ravage Rat-Bat, Eject, Operation Interference.
No, there will be no Operation Interference. I am TFG1 Mike, and you should be listening to my very first podcast, the TFG1 Podcast. 24 episodes covering the entire U.S. run of the 1984 Transformers cartoon. I also have a few supplemental episodes, and an interview with Stan Bush. I bring in guest hosts who will be full-time co-hosts in Steve Megatron and fan of the show now co-host Pecan Court Michael. So check out the TFG1 Podcast. You can find it on iTunes and the web at www.geekcastradio.com. Transform and roll out!
Welcome to my throne room, fugitives. The Beast Unleashed podcast is over, not gone. You can hear more of this great podcast, discussing all the episodes of Beast Wars and Beast Machines on GeekCastRadio.com. We include voice actor and writer interviews with stellar hosting by Steve, Mike, and Michael. Head on over to iTunes or the net, or else I will send you my vehicles to extract your spark and destroy you. Yes.
Stan Bush here, and I dare you to check out Radio Free Cybertron.
This is Brian Kilby, host of Radio Free Cybertron, the original Transformers internet radio show, and one of the world's first podcasts. First online in 1999. Yes, 1999. We've been doing this for a while. We are also the official podcast of tformers.com, and quite frankly, we're pretty awesome. So check us out, tfradio.net.
Hey guys, it's Optimus Solo, your Cybertronian correspondent, giving you my thoughts on episodes 36 through 39 of Transformers Animated. Before we start, just another quick note based on last week's episode. Again, you guys insult my intelligence in the Transformers lore and the history of Transformers. I know we had cyber ninjas and references to them in G1. They were dumb then, and they're dumb now. Just because I didn't reference them, or just because they were in G1, doesn't make it okay for them to appear again. The whole idea of ninja transformers is retarded, and I don't care what you guys say. Okay, going on to episode 36, the 7th one of season 3, entitled Predacons Rising, written by Larry DiTillio and Bob Forward. First time we've seen these two gentlemen in this series, but not a surprise that they're showing up here. At the beginning, the whole Sentinel Optimus Prime smackdown, that was pretty cool. I will admit that. I was kind of excited for that. Back to Wasp here. Since you guys always insult my intelligence with stuff I have or have not seen, let me do it with you guys. Michael, have you seen Lord of the Rings? How do you not hear Gollum in Wasp? It's so prevalent. But anyways, I do like the Sentinel and Optimus Prime smackdown, but when they start arguing with each other like they're 10, that turns me off. That's just another characteristic of Transformers Animated being a little too immature. It's a Beast Wars reunion with Waspinator and Black Arachnia. This part I don't mind. We'll get back to that, though, later. Maximum Burn, if I hear that phrase one more time, it's going to be one time too many. I did think it was hilarious when Wasp said no thank you to Black Arachnia before he was shoved into that the device there to mutate him. What the fuck did he turn into, though? Waspinator just turned into Kremzeek / a thing from the Alien movies / Waspinator. I actually think I saw this character in the 2002 He-Man series as one of the members of the Andrinid or one of those species. It was an interesting character. I don't dislike it. It was still kind of a what the fuck moment, but I don't dislike it. I do think someone in the writing department or in charge of the series has a grudge against Waspinator, though. First, he has to go through the whole thing of being framed as being the traitor and being kind of ostracized from the community, and now he's turned into a freaking Frankenstein bot. Someone really did not like Waspinator. And then the ending, which was probably the worst part of the entire episode, where we see, because this usually happens in nature, we see the gorillas, tigers, rats, and rhinos all together next to Black Arachnia. That was such a stretch to pay homage to Beast Wars. It was so forced that it was so retarded. I understand Beast Wars was a great series, but let it be. I understand you bringing characters, and the whole Waspinator Black Arachnia part was cool, but to have in the wild a gorilla, tiger, rat, and rhino obviously representing the Beast Wars characters there, that was so forced and such a stretch that it made for an absolute terrible ending. But the series, or the episode overall, was still pretty cool. I will give it a 6 out of 10 just because of the ending. Otherwise, it would have got a 7. And then we will move on to episode 37 and 38, the 8th and 9th one of season 3, which is called Human Air Part 1 and Part 2, written by Henry Gilroy and Tom Pugsley. I have a whole list of about 25 to 30 things I could say about this episode, or these two episodes, but I am going to refuse to dignify this episode with any comments. This episode does not deserve for me to waste any time commenting on it, or for you guys to listen to me commenting on it at all. It is not only one of the worst two-part episodes I've seen in any cartoon franchise, it is probably one of the top 10 worst Transformers episodes of all time. I will give it a 1 out of 10, and you're getting no comments, because all it's going to be would be me reading off 30 things that were wrong with this episode. Terrible episode, 1 out of 10. Let's move on to episode 39, the 10th from season 3, Decepticon Air, written by Michael Ryan. Let me get through the first couple nitpick things that I don't like. Boo to the Stephen Hawking voice, continuing with Perceptor there. Boo to the phrase spark support. This is just, the writers in Transformers Animated try so hard to take human phrases and make them transformerized, or transformed, I guess, if you want to say it, and it's so forced. It's so bad when they do this. Spark support is just the latest. I should have been making a list as we went through every episode of all the different human phrases, or even past Transformers phrases, that they have turned into something else in Transformers Animated. It's just dumb. Boo to Cliffjumper's voice still. It's bad. I don't want Casey Kasem, but I don't want the one that is currently being used in this one either. Boo to yet another phrase, Bureaucratabots. You've got to be kidding me. But those were the only nitpicks in this episode. Yay for an episode that matters, one that's not a throwaway season 1 episode, one that actually is tied to something and that has some type of interesting storyline. Yay to Alpha Trion, that was cool. Swindle was just awesome in this episode. Swindle was cool the first time we saw him. He was even better in this episode. Swindle stole the show and was easily one of the best character performances we've seen in a while. Awesome Quintesson mention and homage to that. Awesome Nebulos mention, homage to that. It was very cool with the cone head being put on the different clones so that Swindle could tell them apart. That was awesome. When they said the line, no processor, that was kind of funny. I got a good chuckle out of that. It was a cool parade effect at the end with the cons being all handcuffed or, in custody, so to speak. And I loved the last part when Lugnut ends up with Megatron and Starscream, and Starscream says, "So, now we are picking up hitchhikers," and Megatron slaps Starscream. That was a great ending to the episode, unlike episode 36, which had a terrible ending. This episode, Decepticon Air, was just awesome. Decepticon Air, I was ready to give up, and I was going to refuse to watch the rest of this show after episodes 37 and 38. Episode 39 saved it for me. Michael Ryan did a great job. Decepticon Air gets an 8 out of 10, and I will send it back to the guys so that they can insult me.
Blah, 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 blah.
Ooh, that sounds crazy, even to me.
Now back to Transformation Animation Podcast.
First of all, Kevin, we didn't insult you. We just brought up the fact that the Ninja Bots have been a staple throughout cartoon history.
You didn't insult him on air.
No.
No.
Yeah. So, getting into this, I only have one thing, and Michael pretty much already mentioned it in our discussion of the episode for Predacons Rising. Kevin was wondering what the Waspinator thing was homaging, and I just wrote down that it's an homage to 1986's The Fly. Steve, take it away for response to Predacon Rising.
Yeah, as far as this episode, boo to you, sir. Because I don't see how you could totally bash it. I mean, I can understand the whole bit at the end. I mean, it was meant to be an homage, not, literally. There was no point in even putting that there. But I can't see how you can say this was batshit horrible. There have been way worse episodes in this season than that. This episode definitely was one of the stronger ones of Season 3 and Season 1 and 2. So there's no way that you could sit there and just beat up on it like you did. But, to each their own. You hate the series anyways. I just hate the first 2 seasons. So, yeah. So this is my overall favorite episode, so I can't fathom why you'd bash Beast Wars, even with it being written by the actual guys that wrote Beast Wars. So, yeah.
Michael, anything to respond to Kevin on Predacon Rising?
Just what I already mentioned is, I like the Beast Wars reunion, but Derek White already said, don't read too much into it.
Yeah. Yeah, there was tons of people when this episode title leaked. Everybody and their friggin' grandmother was speculating on what this episode was going to be. They were like, "Oh, we're going to have a bunch of Predacons. We're going to have this. We're going to have that." And it turned out to be almost none of that. As for Human Error, my only note to Kevin is, and he will do this, because I've already told him he better be doing this. Wow, seriously? You are so talking about this in episode 16 of the podcast. You are so bringing your notes to the table so we can discuss this. What about you for Human Error, Steve?
I kind of just agree with him on the rest of his thoughts for the most part.
Michael?
It's well known that Kevin hates anything that has a G1 precedent.
God. Let the war begin.
Human Transformers happened in the 3rd season of G1, so I mean we know that this is something that's been done before. If anything, this is an homage to G1. It's also known that Kevin hates anything having to do with human characters, and these episodes were just chock full of human characters.
Yeah.
Even if they were, Automen characters.
Yes.
So I understand why he didn't like it. I think I would have preferred to have him go in a little more detail, but Yeah, basically, Kevin didn't like it because he doesn't like G1 precedent, and he doesn't like human characters. And he doesn't like things that are awesome. But other than that, I can kind of see.
God, episode 16 is probably going to be the best one we ever do. Oh my God. All right. As far as Decepticon Air, I've already basically said what I said about the language. I agree with him on the fucking language shit. I understand that they were creating their own culture. They were creating this, that, and the thing. But after a while, it does wear on you. What about you, Steve? Anything for Decepticon Air?
I was fine with it overall.
Michael?
Sorry, I'm trying to use judicious use of mute here and failing miserably. Swindle is awesome, and by that logic, Kevin should not like him.
Well, he does, so.
No, I like this.
And I think, again, what Steve said, earlier is that in the reason why they didn't like Swindle in the beginning was because he was, the crux of a entirely human-centric episode. So
Right, yeah, and there were no humans in this episode.
No, not at all. Well,
I'm trying to think. Was Sari in this one?
I don't think she was. No.
Well, let me consult the notes here for a second. I think. Sari. Yeah, she was in the very beginning because she had the freaky Ghost in the Shell fingers.
Yeah, but other than that, she wasn't really in it, though.
Other than that, no, not really. Yeah. He didn't say anything about Alpha Trion.
Maybe he didn't really. Well, he said something about Perceptor, so I know he saw that scene.
And his freaky computer voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he did say I think he did say he liked seeing Alphatron, but I don't remember.
And he said that he hated seeing Stephen Hawking. I mean, Perceptor. I mean, Roger Ebert.
Yeah, that's the Perceptor.
Roger Ebert and his...
his chin vagina.
Oh, that's... Yeah. I prefer to remember him how he was.
Yes. As the big fat guy that reviewed movies.
Yeah, him and Siskel.
I still have to find that Animaniacs episode where Slappy is liposuctioning the lard out of Roger Ebert in the Animaniacs cartoon. Show that to you, Michael. I gotta find that.
Oh God.
So thank you for joining us here on Transformation Animation Podcast. There are several ways to get in contact with us, leave feedback for the show. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com. You can comment on each episode post. Leave the show's feedback in iTunes. Please do this. You can also stream the show on Stitcher Smart Radio. Go to Stitcher.com. You can find desktop apps. You can find mobile apps. They're all free, so you can stream our shows in case you don't want to download them.
And use promo code GeekCastRadio so that we can actually make money.
Oh, okay. We have a promo code. I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet. You can also go to Spreadshirt.com or Zazzle.com and buy our shit from stores. Mugs, t-shirts, all that good stuff. They make good Christmas gifts. Pay us money, damn it.
We need cooler shit. That's what we need.
The shirts are pretty cool.
It's like the logo. It doesn't lend itself well to t-shirts.
What else can I put on there legally and get away with it?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, follow us on Twitter. TFA Podcast is the show Twitter. Mine is TFG and Mike. Steve, what is your Twitter?
SCP-21.
And Michael?
PeaconCT Michael.
Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/GeekCast Radio Network. We are now up to 290 fans. Thank you to every single one of you.
Whee!
Call the voicemail line. Tell us the show you're leaving a message for and your name. 502-526-5821. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Transformation Animation Podcast and wish you will join us next time when we will be reviewing the final 3 episodes from Transformers Animated Season 3. Those being This Is Why I Hate Machines and the Endgame 2-parter. For now, I am TFG1 Mike with...
Michael Wilson.
And who's your daddy?
You are. Can we get back to work now?
Steve Megatron Phillips.
I was gonna say leave Indiana Sports out of this.
Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?
Tap you again next week.
Yes.
God, this show has to end. We will tap you again next week.
Make it
stop. He won't tap you. I will.
Shut up, Megatron. You're dead.
You're dumb and bald.
I'm not bald. What the fuck?
You're a retard.
Oh, that's Kevin's line.
You chase your ass when you're walking.
Are you serious? Don't even go there.
Quit being a
All right.
drunken bastard.
At least I don't chase my tail around.
At least I have something to tug on.
All right. Oh, all right. Yeah, that's it. Goodbye, folks.
Waspinator have